Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I thought I would do a little garden tour, share what the garden is looking like in mid to late winter, and kind of have this video as like my starting point for this coming growing season. If you're new here, my name is Robyn and I live here on the south coast of New South Wales with my partner, our 2 cats and our almost 9-month-old baby boy. And I used to run a backyard flower farm here and I am really missing growing flowers, to be honest. I've been thinking about it so much and I would just love to be able to come out and harvest some flowers and see them and grow them and just enjoy them again. So I am kind of thinking about how I can do this on a much smaller scale, seeing as I am a stay-at-home mum and my time is predominantly spent looking after my son. But we are getting to a point now when he is coming outside a lot more and we're enjoying the fresh air out here. And I feel like maybe I can tackle a few more garden tasks with him around. I'm not going to be growing a lot, and to be honest, I might even not sell some of them. I'll see how I go. But in this video, I thought I would just share like what the garden is looking like at the moment, what is currently in the ground. And then at the end of the video, I thought I would just sit down and have a chat about some of the seeds that I'm going to be sowing over the next few weeks to give you an idea of some food and flowers that you can also sow at this time of the year. For context, we live in a very mild, temperate environment, I would call it. We don't get a lot of hard frosts here. We can grow all year round and we have really great growing soil. We have fairly clay-based soil, which holds moisture, so I don't have to do a lot of irrigation in the garden, which is amazing. However, I still like to grow things that are fairly low maintenance and don't require a lot of time and effort. So we are going to start at the worst part of the garden and work our way up. I have a flower growing patch / a veggie growing patch at the base of the garden. And then I have a cottage garden up near the house where I grow more of the food and flowers. So make sure to grab a cup of tea or coffee or some other beverage and a snack for this video. And I hope you enjoy seeing what my garden looks like right now. Right, we're down here in what used to be my flower farm. It's looking very sad right now, and that is hopefully going to change very shortly as the days get longer and the temperature warms up and the plants start to grow a little bit more. It is quite possibly the worst time of day to be filming a video like this, but I'll include some overlays on top just to show you what I'm talking about through this video. So down at the very, very back of the property, I do have some crops growing. I have 2 rows of straw flowers. These are my ride or die plants. If I were to ever grow any cut flowers, these would be the first ones I would plant. I use these in so many different arrangements that you can see on past videos on this channel. I also dry them for Christmas arrangements and I sell dried straw flowers on my website as well. So that is kind of the flower and the plant that I specialize in, and I highly recommend if you are starting a cut flower farm that you do choose 1 or 2 plants and crops that you can really easily grow. And that's going to just also depend on your soil type and your climate. So it might not be straw flowers, it could be something else, but these are ones that just grow really well for me. In saying that, we've had some crazy weather over the last few months, including quite a lot of wind, quite a lot of flooding, and quite a lot of then days like this when it is then super sunny and the ground or the top layer of the soil actually dries out. So it's been quite confusing for the plants. So they're not looking fantastic. However, I do think they are going to bounce back and look a lot better just as they mature a little bit more. One of the rows is looking better than the other. I will come through and chop all these off to make sure that I get side shoots and not just a single large middle stem. But yeah, that's what I have growing down there. The majority of this area behind me, I am switching to just growing grass. That just sounds really sad to me, but that's just what I'm doing. I'm turning it back into grass so I don't have to grow and maintain this whole area, which was a lot even without a baby. So we're scrapping some of this garden to make it more manageable and to just grow better quality crops in the area that I do have, which is still a large area. I'm going to be having 3 8-meter beds. They're about 1 meter or so wide, and behind me here, that's where I have some black tarps, that's just keeping the weeds at bay at the moment. And then in the top row here, I do have a few things planted. I have my chaos garden bed where I just sprinkled seeds, like lots of radish, beetroot and greens seeds in here, and they're all popping up very slow. To be honest, not too impressed so far with the chaos garden. But then again, I probably could have selected better quality seeds. These are seeds that were all expired, and I haven't really been watering or feeding this area. So I could add a little bit more love to this and they might do better. On the other side, it looks a mess. The wire and the wood there is there for a reason. It's because we have so many bandicoots that live on the property and come out at night and dig everything up, and I need those potatoes to stay in the ground. There's potatoes under there. They will be popping up very soon. I think I see a few, but yeah, as the weather warms up, they'll grow and fill in that space there. That's all we've got growing in this area at the moment. I am going to go and have a look at some seeds later in this video and see what we can plant in this area to fill in the spaces, see what I've got. I don't particularly want to buy anymore because I have way too many flower seeds. So I'm going to have a think and see what I can plant in the other 2 rows that I have here. Right, we are back up in my cottage garden, and I thought I would go through each of these sections of the cottage garden and share what is growing, as well as some other garden beds that I have along the side of the fence, because this garden is shaping up to be just absolutely beautiful. The lighting really doesn't do it justice right now. However, this space in the afternoon and in the mornings is absolutely beautiful. So I'm hoping I can get some overlays and shots of it, what it looks like when it looks its most pretty. However, just to the side of me here, I do have one garden bed that I've been working on, and I planted a few perennials in here just to kind of really block out the fence. We used to have some oleanders planted here. I absolutely hate oleanders. Sorry if you like them. However, they're just not great for your health and kids, and they're just very, very invasive and very large, and not a fan. Sorry. Instead of those, I did plant a few acacias there, and I planted these because I loved the structure of the leaves for bouquet making, and they look so stunning in a bouquet. So I'm very happy with those, and they have grown so much. It's about they're about 2.5 years old in the ground now, I believe, or about 2 years, and they've just taken off, which is amazing. They're all full of soon to be flowers, so there's going to just be an explosion of yellow over here. Very, very light pale yellow, nothing too fluoro or in your face, but it's going to be beautiful over here. I also have some Shasta daisies that I've planted, and they have clumped up nicely. I have a snowball viburnum, which has also grown a lot. This is it's about, again, almost 3 years old, this plant, and it is going to be so showy this year. I'm so excited because the flowers on this last year were absolutely beautiful. And then I have another acacia and also just some other little things, like I have some campanula planted in here, and I have a lot of space in this area, and this is where I would like to have a think and again have a look at my seeds and see what I can grow in this space. I'm thinking of just filling it with either cosmos or zinnias, just to bulk it out and to have some height and show in this area. So I think that's what I'm going to do there. Right, I had to have a bit of a break filming, had to go feed Grayson and have some lunch and do all of that. So that's done. Let's continue with this garden tour. It is also incredibly windy, so I apologize if that is picking up on the microphone. But let's have a look at what is growing in my cottage garden behind me. So all of this was once grass, and I have slowly worked on all of these individual garden beds over the last 3 and a bit years or so, using the no-dig method predominantly, and have kind of sectioned it into 4 garden beds that I will briefly discuss now. Starting with this garden bed behind me, this is kind of a little bit more of my wild garden. I have some beautiful peach melba nasturtiums in a pot here. They aren't flowering as much as some of the other ones in the garden, I think because they just get a lot more shade in this area. But next to those is some hollyhock that have just now started to put on some growth. So I don't know whether we'll actually get flowers with this first season, but that's okay. The foliage is still really beautiful. So I'm excited about those. We also have some rhubarb in here. Rhubarb grows really well in my climate, although it just doesn't love all of the rain that we've been getting. So I have gone through a few rhubarb plants, but I just kind of like propagate the same one that I have. When it starts to look a little bit sad, I will make sure to grab the little pups that it produces and have more rhubarb. So this rhubarb has been with us for quite a while. It's actually a cutting or being propagated from my friend Diane's garden. Diane has a YouTube channel here called Diane Sam. So it's always a nice reminder of them in my garden. And what else do we have? We also have some anemones that have popped up in here, and these are so beautiful. They're my favorite color anemone. I would always grow this one over the others. I think it's just called the blue anemone that I get some corms from Garden Express each year, and they have been in these little flower containers for the last few years actually, and they keep on coming back, and I'm so happy that I have a few that have popped back this year because I didn't think they were going to. There's also just some pansies in those that have filled out nicely, and behind all of that is a little bit of a wild garden, as I said, but I had planted that salvia that you saw in a previous video that is now in there, in and amongst all of the gorgeous red mizuna that I'm not too sure how to use it all. We've been using it in like spinach pies and stir fries, but I kind of need some more ideas on how to use it. So let me know if you have used like mizuna or red mustard or those kind of a bit more peppery greens. I'd love to know how you use them. There's also some delphiniums that are just about to bloom in this garden, and I planted these quite a few months ago hoping that we would get some blooms, and I'm so happy that they survived all of the rain that we had. I think they're going to be white and blue and maybe some purple. I just picked up a mix from the garden centre, so they will look absolutely beautiful in that area. I'm hoping they put on a lot of growth, so I do need to make sure to just give them some food when they are flowering. In amongst there, we also have just a menagerie of different things. There's some dill popping up, there is some silver beet, there's some poppies. What else have we got? Some linaria has started to sprout all throughout the garden. And the daffodils, I have some daffodils planted here. They're a yellow variety, and they have really clumped up nicely in that space. And then I also have some jonquils that I feature in most of my videos now because they're just so beautiful and I want to make the most of them. But they line like the pathways and the corners around the garden and just shape it all really nicely. Moving on to the next garden bed, we have so much borage that has self-seeded itself down the base of this garden bed, and it looks absolutely beautiful right now. It's the first year that it hasn't really, I haven't really had one plant of borage take over. The plants just grew so close together so that they are a little bit more manageable in height now, but the blue and the purple flowers of them are just absolutely beautiful. And then I have some lavender here, as well as some more borage, potatoes. Some hollyhocks actually are planted in here. I need to come through and do a bit of a weed around them. And I think I do have some spinach in here as well that I need to find and weed around. Moving up, we have the gorgeous broad bean patch. These are they're honestly one of my favorite things to grow, I think, because they provide so much beauty all throughout winter. There was just this beautiful green wall in the garden pretty much all winter, and they look really healthy at the moment. However, I don't see any beans on them yet. I am hoping they start to form soon, but we had a lot of flowers on them, so we'll see how they go. Hopefully we do get some broad beans and they actually start producing. But yeah, they're looking really nice at the moment, so we'll see. We've also just got like some calendula popping up between them, some more borage, some more jonquils, dill. I just love how the edges of this have so much life and food in it. There's also some broccoli I can see there. Yeah, it's a nice little patch and it frames the garden really nice, I think. This area of the garden bed isn't looking fantastic though. It's quite weedy. Of course, the jonquils are looking beautiful. I can see a few anemones in here. I did have some carnations that I planted here and I was hoping they would take off a little bit more, but they haven't, and the grass is just kind of encroaching in this space. So I think I want to plant something that is nice and full, nice and tall in this area. I'm thinking maybe some sunflowers or maybe some larkspur in here. There is a David Austin rose as well, but it has never been happy here. It doesn't look very happy at the moment, so I'm thinking of just taking that out and yeah, planting something else in this garden bed area. Moving on, this garden bed is starting to shape up a little bit now. All of the ranunculus has really started putting on some growth, which is really nice. I'm hoping that there's just going to be a carpet of rainbow flowers here. In a few months, I will be sitting in this exact position and there will be rainbow flowers around. I am so excited to see that. So they all are planted behind me and some on the other side of that trellis. I do have some sweet peas planted along the trellis and they haven't really done much at all. So I'm not too sure what's going on with those. I have some silver beet planted along the pathway here next to a rose, which I trimmed a few weeks ago, and that's kind of just sitting a little bit dormant over winter. Underneath the rosemary, there is so much parsley, which has just self-sown itself, which is beautiful. I love that when it does that in my garden. And I also have the area that I planted some spring onions and lettuce. That's growing really well, and I'm hoping that will fill in over the next few weeks, as well as some poppies, which I can see are so close to flowering, and they'll also provide a little bit of rainbow colour in this area. The last garden bed that I have here is the one with my compost in it. I have an in situ compost, meaning I basically just have a compost bin in place where the compost is then going to be. I can just lift the whole thing up and spread the compost out, and I don't have to move it or take it to another area of the garden. It's pretty full at the moment, so I think I'm going to cap that compost bin off, just let it sit for a while, turn it every few weeks, and then it should be ready in a few months. I have some collards planted in here. Again, I've shared in some other videos, they haven't really been doing that well. The caterpillars are enjoying those. The rose has started to wake up now. I have a row of yellow straw flowers here, which I've kind of just marked as the border of the side of the garden bed. I have this crepe myrtle here, which is not very happy. I think it just might be a little bit too wet here for it. But the Westringia behind me is absolutely loving life and is looking so beautiful. And on the other side of the compost bin, there is an abundance of calendula and just random plants that have self-sown there. There's some beautiful linaria there that has started to flower, the occasional tomato that has popped up, most likely from the compost bin. And yeah, it's just a bit of a jungle over there, which I'm completely fine with as long as there's plants covering the soil is protected and it's not too invasive, then I'm fine with it. Something I have noticed though is some cosmos seeds self-germinating and growing in the area. So that signals to me that maybe it's almost time to plant some cosmos flowers. So I'm thinking about maybe having a look in my stash and seeing what I have of those, because I think some cosmos in this garden would be really beautiful. Other than that, I have some containers with some hyacinths in them that have started sprouting now, which is beautiful to see. The olive tree / hedge is doing really well as some dusty miller, some more jonquils, and a jasmine that I have on a trellis on the side. It's all looking really nice, and I'm really happy with how this space has transformed. And that is pretty much it for the cottage garden and the property right now of what is growing. We also have a wall of lavender on the side of the fence. Grayson just picked me a flower and gave it to me, which was beautiful. And that is just looking really nice along there. It's nice to have just a simple hedge of flowers that we can always come down and pick some fresh blooms from there. Other than that, in terms of what I have been sowing lately, I have sown some larkspur seeds. I have sown some snapdragons. I think I just did the Tetra mix and Lucky Lips, I think is what it's called. It's like a cherry, a white and cherry pink color. And I've also planted some more lettuce seeds and spring onions. You know, I always plant those. I love to have them planted as a succession to fill in any of the gaps in the garden. But I'm going to go in and finish my cup of tea now and enjoy my flowers that were picked for me. And I think this afternoon or over the next few days, I'm going to have a look at the seeds that I have, and then I'll come back the end of this video and have a chat on what I'm going to be sowing over the next few weeks, because I really need to get some planning done. So I have had a little look through all of my seeds and pulled out a few that I'm going to focus on over the next few weeks. This is what I store my seeds in. It's just a photo and craft storage box, but I really like how I can store seeds in this. I can kind of also color code it. I have all of my warmer season crops with the warmer colors and cool season crops on that side. So I have one of these for all of my flower seeds and then one for my veggie seeds. So that is a really great way to store seeds if you're interested. It is a really dreary day today, so hopefully the lighting is okay in this, but I'm just going to do a little bit of a chat at the end of this video to kind of give you a few ideas on things that you might want to plant if you're in a similar climate, because I know there are some people who live around the Shoalhaven or like Sydney or even up to Brisbane. There's a lot of things that you can plant right now, with it being like a shoulder season and really in between winter and spring. So there's only about 4 weeks, until spring, which is crazy. And there's certain things that I like to plant now, and then other things that I usually wait until late August or September to start. For me personally, that's all of the really warm season crops like tomatoes, cucumbers, pumpkins, rock melons, and all of those kinds of things. And that's just because I don't really have a good greenhouse set up or a place that I can germinate those seeds that they can stay nice and warm, because our house still does get quite cold overnight, and we don't have a lot of heating downstairs, which is where I would have the seeds germinate. That being said, if you do have a scenario where you can be germinating seeds, by all means, you can start things like tomatoes and all of those warmer, loving crops. However, you do just need to make sure that you keep up the heat or the humidity. Unless you live in a warmer climate, then that's fine as well. We are still getting frosts overnight here, so that's not working for me at the moment. However, things I do like to plant in terms of veggies, I only really have a few because I've already got most of what I want to be growing in the ground, and that's things like radishes, beetroot, lettuce, spinach, collards, all of those nice good things. They're already in the ground for me. However, if you want to start them now, that's something you can start. Also onion, I'll be starting some of these over the next few weeks. This is the one that I have here. It's gonna focus. I have liked growing this onion before, the Hunter River Brown. I've also got Gladelan Brown, I don't know how to pronounce that, but that one there. Have had good luck with that. And I also have a bunch of greens as well. This is like the perfect time to get greens in the ground because I find they germinate really well, particularly on days like this when it's so rainy. So I have all of like these greens. I just keep them in a separate bag when I want to plant certain things. I'll take them out of the little color-coded boxes and pop them in a bag right next to the back door, and then I can just take out a few here and there whenever I want to plant some greens. Like I said before, I've already got lettuce in the ground, and a lot of this is lettuce in here. But there's things in here like even sprouts and microgreens. You can start now. You can grow them all year round, but if you want some quick greens and nutrition, then microgreens are always a great idea. I've got things like sorrel in here, and mainly just a lot of lettuce, silver beet. I have some Chinese celery, So with a lot of these, they're pretty old seeds. I'm just going to be sprinkling these in the cottage garden and seeing what comes up over the next few weeks. And that is about it for the veggies I have, because I'm going to be waiting, like I said, until probably the start of September to be sowing all of the tomatoes and that kind of thing that we're going to be growing this year. In terms of flowers, I mentioned before I am growing some larkspur. You can still sow this. I've had good luck sowing it around now. This is the variety that I have sown in my garden, and I liked these for bouquets. They sold really well, and they added that beautiful spike and nice kind of soft pastel colors. So I like these ones. And then I did pull out some cosmos as well. I'm going to be growing the double click mix and also the double Dutch rose. So those are the two cosmos that I'm going to be growing. And the last packets that I pulled out that I might wait like a few weeks, maybe 2 weeks, but I have pulled out some zinnias because you can start those now, and I love zinnias. I'm going to be really tactful with these though, and not go doing the whole rainbow, every single colour thing that I used to do for bouquets. I am just going to be growing the Bennery's Giant Lilac and the Bennery's Giant Lime. These two, absolutely beautiful together in a bouquet. Would highly recommend this combination if you are interested in growing cut flowers or just want some like nice flowers in your garden. These two, amazing. I have really great luck with the Bennery's Giant series of zinnias. I know there are so many zinnias, like Florette has some beautiful, stunning ones. I personally couldn't justify the price of them. Maybe at a different point in my life, but not quite now. And there's some other gorgeous, softer colors as well, but I just really like these. So I will be planting those. And that is all I have. So I will be sharing again over the next few weeks, just like snippets here and there of the garden with other like cozy vlogs and things like that. But I still do want to do like garden tours and document the garden here on this YouTube channel, because like I said, it's my passion and my love, and I want to bring that into all of the other cozy content that I want to be making. So I really hope you enjoyed this video and seeing what is growing currently in my garden. Please, like always, let me know what's growing in your garden. What are you enjoying the most in your garden, whether you are still in winter like we are in the Southern Hemisphere, or you're enjoying all of those summer days in the Northern Hemisphere. Let me know what is happening in your garden. And like always, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to give this video a like. It really does help me out, and I can see on my analytics what kinds of videos you like to see by how my audience engages with them. So that just really helps me out, as well as any other way you want to engage, commenting, subscribing, or heading over onto Patreon where I have extra content over there. All of that helps me out so much and really allows me to continue making these videos for you. So thanks for watching. I'm going to go enjoy this rainy day, but I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are in the world. And until my next one, happy gardening, everyone. Bye.